Welcome back. One organization aims to make a difference in the lives of youth in underinvested communities. New York Edge offers programs designed to enrich and improve several areas of a child's academic success. Joining me to discuss their effort is CEO of New York Edge, Rachael Gazdick. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Now, can you tell me a little bit more about your organization?
Yeah, New York Edge is the largest provider of after-school programming across New York City. We serve students in all five boroughs. And starting this fall, we are also expanding to Long Island. So we reach about 40,000 students in after-school programming. And this summer, particularly in the Bronx, we have 23 schools that we're operating for Summer Rising summer camps, which reaches about 2,000 kids.
And can you tell me the overall mission of your organization and what kind of got you started in this?
Yeah, so I think the overall mission is to ignite kids' intellectual curiosity and really find them where they are and really tune into what a kid's interested in, right? At a very early age, we start to show interest in certain things, whether it be the sciences and robotics and math, whether it's broadcasting. We host our own podcast with middle schoolers called Formative, and we've had really reputable people. Yesterday, we had the president of Disney Network on the show with us. So we're really teaching kids to be broadcasters. We're teaching them to be authors. The children at PS 189 in the Bronx have published their first book that sold out on Amazon and on Barnes and Noble. And they work with professional authors and professional illustrators so that they can see a final product. So when we talk about building kids' skills, whether it's reading, literacy, writing, we want them to see themselves as the next author, the next scientist, the next athlete. And I think we are set up to put them on that pathway. Because if you can't do that here in New York City, I'm not quite sure where you can do it.
Nice. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more just about the wording because I know when you described your, like online, when you describe your program, you used the term underinvested. And that was kind of the first time I've heard a term like that. So can you explain, why you chose to go with the term underinvested communities or help children in underinvested communities?
Yeah, I mean, it really is important to level the playing field for kids, and I think to bring them the best possible resources we can. So, for example, we have a speed mentoring program for the students. So they speed mentor with kids from Microsoft. They're working with kids, not kids, they're working, I'm sorry, speed mentoring they do with professionals from Microsoft, IBM, apprenticeships. And so, what we want to make sure is that you can't be what you can't see. So, we want to be able to bring every possible resource to students so that they can excel in whatever their interests are. And that's really important to us at New York Edge.
So those are some really cool programs that you mentioned, but your organization also focuses on health and wellness and self-confidence, which I think is so cool. Why was that important to include that in your programming?
Well, we work with a program called Hip Hop Heals out of Columbia University. And sports has always been at the center of New York Edge. Actually, part of our history is Arthur Ashe wanted to have tennis in all of the schools across New York City. And so we have a sister organization, the New York Junior Tennis League. So sports was part of our founding, but the other part is overall health, physical health and wellness, where kids are eating nutritious foods. We're identifying where food deserts are in various neighborhoods and trying to address those issues. And that's part of our work in collaboration with Hip Hop Heals. And they have different programs like Hip Hop Stroke, Hip Hop Cardio, Hip Hop Diabetes. And they've really engaged hip hop artists to really, talk to kids about ways to eat nutritionally and so forth. We've had some kids lose like 100 to 150 pounds in the program just by getting out there and exercising. And obviously that impacts, how they feel physically, but then also their energy levels to be in school and to really perform at the highest levels like we know that the kids can.
So I think that's really amazing, and I'm so happy that you shared that. Can you explain why you think maybe more student-based centers should focus on non-traditional lessons like health and wellness, or even improving self-confidence in a child?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mental health of our kids is really critical, mental and physical health. And I think we put a lot of time into physical health, but mental health and being proud of who you are, resiliency, strong leadership skills, all of these things are important to students' identity. And we want them to have the self confidence, and we want them to know that anything is possible. And I think our kids are always faced with a lot of challenges, and they need to have the support behind them. And I think New York Edge not only provides the academic and health and wellness, but it's really having adults that you can talk to, and be mentors to you. We hire from the neighborhoods in which our schools are based. And so our kids really connect with our staff on a very different level than you would probably with your teacher or a principal. And I think that's really important for us to wrap around an entire child and family. We have parent advocates in all of our program. We have parents on our board. I think because parents' voice is also really, the family voice is really critical in our programming too.
So I'm so happy that you brought that up because I know that for your organization, diversity and inclusion is like a huge part of that. And you talked about how that could be so important to a child. I think representation is so important, especially for, children in low income communities. So can you expand on that a little bit further on just why it's important for a child to see, someone who kind of looks like them or grew up in the same area as them, in these positions?
I think it's absolutely critical because there's a connection there, and our staff is really the role model for our young people. But also, I would say all of the like sort of the book project, for example, is run by an African American gentleman by the name of Jesse Bird, and it's a Black-owned book publishing company. And so the kids see this. He's actually 6'9" when he comes in to the room. So they were more taken by his height. But this really wonderful man who's worked for Google, who's written books, and they see him and they're sitting down and having a conversation with him as they've created the book. And that's important. And all of the illustrators, as another example, or African American, Latino, so on and so forth, so that the kids can see that that's a role you can have as well. And I think our staff really encourage, talking with the students at a level that really reaches them in a deep way to say, look, there's lots of options out there for you, and we're going to help you get there.
Now, you mentioned that you have all these professionals from places like Google, Disney, and then you also offer programs in STEM. I think this is so amazing, and I have to admit I'm a little jealous because I wish I had something like this when I was younger. Now, can you just explain the significance of having this accessible to low-income students?
Well, I'll tell you. So, most recently, our kids interviewed a child from the Bronx named Kevin. He interviewed Alphabet Rockers, which was nominated for 3 Grammy Awards, and their music is around social justice. And for me, I co-host it, but the purpose of the podcast is so that the kids take it over. And in this particular segment, there was just this connection with the child saying, this was you're going to be my hero. This was the most moving thing I've ever done. I love learning about how you became who you are. And at the end of this podcast session, we were all like teary eyed because the student was so moved by having this opportunity. And we just don't realize when we give kids these opportunities how important it is to them, how they hold on to it, and how it makes them know that they can do the next thing. And they can be they can be a broadcaster, they can be whoever they would like to be. And that was really important. And this group, the Alphabet Rockers, also performed with our kids at our gala last May. And it was the first time the kids danced since the pandemic. Step is a really big part of our programming, as well as other dances. And so this group professionally their choreographers sent videos so that the kids could learn the moves for the big performance. So we give kids a platform and a stage to be with Grammy nominated artists. And, there's nothing more exciting than that.
Yeah, I agree. I like I said, I wish I had something like that when I was younger. Now, many of your accomplishments also include helping these students achieve higher education. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so having been a professor myself for almost 20 years, access for kids to go to college is really important. And for the kids to be college and career ready, and be able to select which pathway they choose to go on. So, what we want to make sure is that kids see colleges and universities, not just here in New York, but across the country, that they're matched well with the schools, socially, academically. It has all of the types of programs that they want to be a part of. I think their academic life is important. I also think their social life is important. And I think it's important for kids to go away to school and have that 4-year college experience if that's what they're interested in. So, for example, our high school programs, we're offering the opportunity for kids to go to a place like Syracuse University in their junior year to their upward bound, not upward bound, but summer college program, excuse me. And they earn 6 academic credits by the time they're a junior in high school. And so that gives them a 6-week summer experience. So along with all the traditional things that you do, test prepping and so forth, I want kids to really be on the campus, be comfortable there, and really feel connected and excited about where they're going. I think it's one thing to tour a campus. I think it's another thing to really spend time there. Yeah.
So I think that's super amazing. Can you quickly let everybody know how they can learn more about your organization?
Oh, sure. You can go to newyorkedge.org, and you can learn more about us on the website. And if we are in your school in the Bronx, I encourage you to enroll your students. What you would do is just ask your school's principal if New York Edge is in the building.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me. I wish you a great summer.
That's all for our show today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.